1 GB RAM. Back in the early smartphone and budget PC days, 1 GB RAM was considered usable. Apps were lighter, websites were simpler, and nobody expected their device to multitask without freezing. Open one app, use it, close it. That was the lifestyle. Today, 1 GB can barely handle a modern operating system. Android, Windows, or lightweight Linux will boot, but the moment you open a browser, things slow down fast. Switching between apps feels like time travel, and not in a good way. Forget gaming, heavy browsing, or streaming. You'll find 1 GB now in old phones, outdated tablets, smart TVs, and embedded devices that only do one job. For normal users, it's effectively obsolete. RAM isn't about numbers or specs. It's about whether your device keeps up with what you actually do, and 1 GB simply can't anymore. 2 GB RAM. 2 GB became common in budget netbooks, early Chromebooks, and low-end Windows laptops around the late 2000s and early 2010s. Machines like the Asus EEPC, early Acer Aspire models, and some first-generation MacBook Airs shipped with it. Back then, it seemed generous. With 2 GB, you could handle extremely basic tasks, word processing, light spreadsheet work, browsing a single website. Open more than one browser tab, and the system started struggling. Programs would freeze, and your machine would spend more time thinking than actually doing anything. This was also when lightweight operating systems like Chrome OS and optimized Linux distributions emerged. These could squeeze something usable out of 2 GB. Windows Vista and early Windows 7 machines constantly hit the memory wall. Today, 2 GB is for emergency backup machines or ultra-lightweight setups. It can barely run one modern browser tab smoothly, let alone multiple apps at once. 4 GB RAM. 4 GB became the standard for budget laptops and desktops around 2010 to 2015. The HP Pavilion, Dell Inspiron, early MacBook Airs, and mid-range ThinkPads all shipped with it as the sweet spot. With 4 GB, you could comfortably open 3 to 5 browser tabs, write documents, check email, and stream a YouTube video without everything freezing. Multitasking still had its limits. Run Photoshop while Spotify and a dozen tabs were open, and the system would struggle. But for everyday users, it was enough. This was also when Windows 7 and 8 became widely used, and 4 GB was officially the minimum you needed to feel modern. Students, office workers, and anyone who just wanted to browse without constant frustration, 4 GB handled it. Even today, it's still usable for very light tasks and budget Chromebooks, but opening more than a handful of tabs or modern apps will remind you that your computer is running on fumes. 8 GB RAM. Around 2015, 8 GB became the updated standard for most new PCs, laptops, and mid-range Macs. The Dell XPS 13, MacBook Pro, and budget gaming rigs all shipped with it as the baseline. With 8 GB, you could open 10 to 15 browser tabs, stream music or video, run Office apps, and edit photos in Lightroom without the system struggling. Light gaming became viable. Video calls and streaming ran smoothly. Most everyday tasks just worked. It became the baseline for home offices, students with multitasking needs, and content creators starting out. Fast, affordable, and reliable. Of course, 8 GB isn't unlimited. Heavier games or professional video editing can still cause stutters, and large files in Photoshop or Premiere will push it to its limits. But for the majority of users, it hits the right balance. 16 GB RAM. By around 2018, 16 GB became the sweet spot. In 2026, it still is. If you're trying to decide what to buy, this is probably your answer. Mid-range gaming laptops, MacBook Pros, and custom desktops started shipping with it as standard. With 16 GB, you can play modern games on high settings, edit 1080p video while Photoshop has a dozen layers open, keep music running in the background, and manage 20+ browser tabs, all without asking your machine to hold on. Switching between apps feels instant. Power users, casual streamers, and hobbyist content creators finally have a system working with them rather than against them. Heavy 4K video projects or multiple virtual machines might still push it. For almost everyone else, it's smooth, snappy, and future-proof for a few years. 32 GB RAM. 32 GB showed up as multitasking became a full-time job for power users. You stop checking Task Manager, you stop wondering which app to close, you just use the PC. This tier became popular in the early 2020s as content creation, streaming, and heavier games became normal. With 32 gigabytes, you can game on high or ultra settings, while Discord, Spotify, Chrome, and recording software all run in the background without drama. Video editors can work on 4K timelines without previews turning into a slideshow. Large Photoshop files open without that pause where you wonder if the app froze. For basic users, this is more than necessary. For creators, developers, and heavy multitaskers, 32 gigabytes is where the PC stops pushing back and starts keeping up. 64 gigabytes RAM. 64 gigabytes exists for people whose projects are measured in gigabytes, not megabytes. This isn't about opening more browser tabs or gaining a few extra frames in a game. At this level, you're dealing with 8K video timelines, massive 3D scenes, multiple virtual machines running simultaneously, and large datasets that would choke smaller systems. Simulation work, heavy compiling, data analysis. This is where 64 gigabytes stops sounding excessive and starts feeling necessary. The biggest difference isn't speed, it's stability. Projects don't slow down when they get complex. Apps don't crash when you layer effects or duplicate assets. You can render and code and simulate at the same time without the system struggling. For everyone else, it's overkill. For the people who need it, there's no going back. 128 gigabytes RAM. 128 gigabytes exists for workloads that simply cannot fit into memory on normal systems. This isn't something you buy because something feels slow. You buy it because your workload would not run otherwise. Scientific simulations, massive databases, full server virtualization, Hollywood-grade VFX pipelines, AI and machine learning models, these are the workloads that justify 128 gigabytes. It lets you load entire scenes, datasets, or models into memory without constant swapping or crashes. For normal tasks, 128 gigabytes does nothing extra. Your browser won't feel faster, your games won't look better. In data centers, research labs, AAA game studios, and enterprise servers, it makes sense. When time equals money and crashes are unacceptable, massive memory is the safest investment. If you're considering 128 gigabytes and don't already know exactly why you need it, you probably don't.